Hi, my name is Aaron Linsdau. I'm a polar explorer and motivational speaker. It's travel day! Today we're going to tell you how to travel in the wilderness alone. How do you travel in the wilderness alone? How do you travel in the wilderness alone? Actually, hang on, very easy. You simply get out of your car, you walk into the wilderness, you live for a week with only a pocket knife, and bazow, you come back alive, a little grubby, and you're just fine. Is that realistic? If you're going out for the survivalist thing, and you just want to have your pocket knife, you want to march out, could it possibly work? Sure. Are you going to come back starving and miserable and potentially sick or hurt? Very likely. So, there are multiple levels of wilderness travel. What I'm going to do is talk about travel safely and like backpacking style, but doing it alone. So people always wonder, like, I've always wanted to go out, and I've had this asked of me before. I want to go out into the wilderness, but I want to experience it like a Daniel Boone or Jim Bridger or somebody like that. How do I do that? Well, today, that's not that easy. I mean, those guys travel with a pack horse. They went out, they shot deer, they ate it. I mean, you gotta have permits, and you can't just go hunting large animals. You can go kill squirrels and all that, but let's focus on general travel in the wilderness alone, assuming you're going to be doing the backpacking thing and then get out there by yourself. And this is applicable to men, women, not kids. No, if you're below 18, get in the Boy Scouts or the scouting program, do something like that. But how do you travel in the wilderness alone? The number one thing that is absolutely paramount to you doing this successfully is preparation. Nothing else matters initially except preparation, because if you don't have all the right things and the mental reservoir of what you can do to survive out in the wilderness, things could go actually wrong pretty quick. So when Dr. Terry Williams and I wrote our book, Adventure Expedition 1, a decent chunk of the book talks about solo expeditioning and solo travel. Because I'm a solo traveler. I don't always go alone. In fact, I'm planning an expedition with Terry next year to ski across the Greenland ice cap. That's a major expedition, some 300 to 400 miles, depending how it goes. I mean, if you're out there and something goes wrong, I mean, it could go really sideways. So in the back of this book, I put a little section on travel and survival in the wilderness. Now you might think, what's the top 10 survival list? Not the Boy Scout top 10 things that you should bring with you, but the top survival list. And what do you think you need initially? When you say, hey, I need to travel in the wilderness, and what should I need to survive? And you'll think food, water, maybe fire. Based on our analysis and our priorities, those are items: water, number 8, food, number 9, fire, number 10. What? So, in order to travel in the wilderness, it's not about how much gear and crap you bring. It's not about your rifle, your pistol that you carry, or your fishing line and all this. No. The number one thing that you have to carry into the wilderness alone, and I'll read it from here: attitude and the will to survive. This rate's above everything else. Without it, you can be dead in seconds without the will to survive. Now, we're not talking about a survival situation, but when you're traveling alone in the wilderness, you have to be prepared for things to go totally sideways, because it could possibly happen. Imagine you're hiking along in the Sierras or on the Appalachian Trail. Well, the Appalachian Trail is pretty big, so let's talk about the Sierras. You haven't seen anybody in 2 days, and you're going along fine. All of a sudden, you slip on a rock, stumble, and completely twist your ankle and hurt your knee doing it. Oh, crap. What are you going to do? I mean, this is like a major danger problem. So, if you've just fallen over and hurt yourself, immediately the fear and everything can spiral out. You can get an adrenaline pump and you can think, oh my gosh. Now, are you going to immediately die? No. But can you have the attitude that, okay, I can make it, I can deal with this, and the moment of panic, that's where you have to calm down and chill yourself out. So traveling in the wilderness alone is critical, or attitude is critical to traveling in the wilderness alone. The second thing, oxygen. Without it, you'll obviously be dead. Core temperature maintenance, always keep yourself somewhat warm. When you're traveling in polar environments, you actually have to stay cool. It's a totally different story. You need to create this mantra of positive self-talk. Number 4, yes, I can do this. I can succeed. I can get through these challenges. I can face down my fears. 5, work with what you have. You can't bring a whole wheelbarrow of stuff. I mean, I've seen it. I've seen people go out for a 1 or 2 day backpacking trip carrying 50 pounds. I'm like, man, you must be miserable. Oh no, I have everything I need. But carrying that much weight can cause you to stumble, trip, and really hurt something. Number 6, protection from the elements. Elements traditionally being snow and water or rain. Keeping yourself out of the elements and the wind too is critical to your survival in staying alive and having a good time in the outdoors. Number 7, shelter. Keeping you out of those elements. Now, protection from the elements has 2 layers. One is your jacket, your hat, your clothing that's on you. And then the secondary layer is your shelter and everything in this secondary zone within quite a very short reach of you. Then you get into water, food, and then shelter. So going out in the wilderness, adventuring like this, you always have to be prepared and based on measure of how fast something can kill you. So look at it this way. If you fell in a lake and you got swept under some ice and you decide to panic and breathe in, you're probably dead. Like, pow! Immediately. Now, are you biologically dead? No. But once you're taking a lung full of water, you're going for the big dark immediately. So traveling in the wilderness alone requires that attitude of calm down, don't panic, and cruise along. Now, why am I focusing on the survival aspect? Because as a solo wilderness traveler, I've hiked and adventured so many times in the outdoors. I go through my checklist, physical, get all my gear, and I'm ready to go, and it's no big deal for me. But the first person that's looking to go out into the wilderness by themselves and try their hand at backpacking or camping or whatever, it can be pretty intimidating. Now, I'm here to tell you that, can I guarantee nothing will happen? No way. Not possible. I coughed up blood in Antarctica. Terry got lost in a whiteout and almost died on Mount Shasta. Yeah, we've both had our close calls, but we both had the attitude and we didn't know each other at the time of, okay, you can get through this. What is the process for taking care of this problem? Begin to work through it. Maintaining that positive attitude is everything. Critically, when you're traveling alone in the wilderness, you must tell someone who is responsible and who cares about you where you are going, what your planned route is, where you might be camping, and then when you're going to be back. And tell them to put a reminder on their phone like, oh man, I haven't seen Aaron. Oh crud, he was supposed to be back. This, I cannot emphasize this enough. Have you ever heard the story of Aaron Ralston, who had to wing off his hand with a dull pocket knife when he got stuck in a canyon with a rock that smashed his hand? He didn't tell anybody where he was going. He didn't have not that he didn't have a plan, but nobody knew when he was supposed to be back. In fact, nobody knew he was missing. So if you decide to travel in the wilderness alone, I'll leave you with this point. Whatever you do, I mean, this book is more for expeditioning. I'll have some more resources. Below there's a link to this book, but just a general couple other links for things to think about when you're traveling in the wilderness alone. But the number one thing for you to travel in the wilderness alone is make sure someone responsible, a spouse, a boyfriend, girlfriend, Not your dog, not the whoever, somebody who actually cares that you come home. You gotta let them know what your plan is and where you're going, when you're gonna be back, what your vehicle, where your vehicles is in case you don't show up, so they can call the proper authorities and get a rescue underway. That, among anything else, is the most critical thing you can do to ensure that if something does go wrong, you can actually get rescued. Assuming nothing goes wrong, believe me, you'll have a wonderful time, but it's all about the right mental attitude, and that is what makes a difference between having a good time and enjoying yourself and staying safe and coming home or not coming home. And that is how you travel in the wilderness alone in a nutshell. My name is Aaron Linsdau. I'm a polar explorer, motivational speaker, and a professional traveler. Please like and comment on my video. Subscribe below. Hit the little bell thing right next to the subscribe button too. Please support me on Venmo, PayPal, and Patreon. Links below. Just hit the little arrow below the video here. Thank you very much for watching.